I love 101, so that's perfect.
Hello, everyone. We're live. We finally did it. Today, hello, I'm Tamara Hunter, and today is day number 101 of 365 days of awesome Celebrate
Woohoo!
Service. Yes! And I have my dear friend Robert W. Jones on as our service hero. And let me go into why it is that I wanted Robert here today and to share his amazing, just so much about him. Number one, before I even go into what it is he does for the day job, I think he is just a stellar example of what a man and a father is all, in my mind, what should be all about. And I'm going to have him go into that with us. You're welcome. And we've had these discussions before, and he really impresses me in that category. And it's so needed in this world. And then on top of it, he has this amazing, fun group, and you're going to find out about that he's helping people in his hometown, in his backyard, and now it's extending into other areas too, to learn how to network and how to do it in a way that creates relationships and helps you to be successful, right? So welcome. I'm so glad we went late a little bit because we were having some technical issues, but we figured them out.
But that's what makes it all the better, right?
Yeah, that's right. It made it like, woohoo, here we are.
It's like, okay, we did it.
Yes, celebration. So, Robert, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, oh my goodness. Let's see. Let's where I start. I've served my country. I was in the United States Marines for 6 years. I graduated college from the University of North Texas in Denton, Texas. When I was born, I had a servant's heart from the get-go. I was on 2 missions for my church at the time, and I was one of those guys that went door to door, and I wanted to bring people to Christ, and I loved every day of that, and it really helped set those, I guess, those organizations, my church, the Marines, going to university, graduating college, all helped me like set a foundation for like where I'm at today and how I want to serve and help other people.
And you said it right there. Okay, we're done. No.
serve.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you're a service hero. We're already having people say hello and stuff, so I'm not going to do that because this is going to be one of those shows today that we're just going to have some fun and more fun, and then a little bit more on top of that because that's what you bring to the table. I actually went back in my notes and found a bit of a blast from the past, and that was my first summit was when I went to Phoenix for David Fagan and Allison Larson's the Spirit Summit, and it was at the beginning of this year, and I'll never forget because you had this tremendous amount of people there, and I remember looking around and David Fagan says, "Okay, everybody stand up. That's with your group." And half the room stood up. And I was looking around and I'm thinking, okay, what is this all about? Tell us about your group. I want to talk about that, and then I want to go into some other things about you. But the group, I think, is just, I don't usually start there, but with your group, it's so much of who you are. That's why I want to start.
Well, with our group, a little bit of backstory on the organization itself, Tamara, is it didn't actually start out to be a business networking group or a personal development group or even a place where people could find their voice in public speaking. It actually started out when I was in my mind when I was a kid. I feel like it starts in your mind, then it manifests physically in what you do. And when I was a kid growing up in the Midwest, when I was really young, there's this thing called the welcome wagon. And I thought, I don't know, I was just one of those kids that thought the welcome wagon was the coolest thing ever. It brought new new people to a community together. And, my mom met a lot of people. I was raised by a single mom, which later in life I became a single dad. So I understand what it's like to raise a couple of kids on my own and, not have the necessary support that you always can have, especially when you're away from family. But I thought the Welcome Wagon was the most amazing organization because I just thought, like yard sales and bake sales and May Day where you ring the doorbells and you drop the candy at the doorstep. And I felt living in Arizona, we didn't have that. So I wanted to have an organization that had that same like neighborhood, neighborly family feel. And
Right.
And Network Together was kind of sprouted from that. And it was actually called Bagels and Coffee. And our original tagline was where relationships create community.
Oh, I did not know this. Wow.
Yeah,
So
isn't it crazy?
It was named at first Bagels and Coffee?
Yes, bagels and coffee in the morning. We would meet at a coffee shop and we just wanted to start talking about what could we do in the community for where our members could actually start getting to know each other. And let me tell you something, after about a year of that, I have to admit it failed miserably. it just didn't really seem to take off. And I kind of shelved it for a while. And then, later on, I was like I wanted to grow my business. I had an internet marketing company and I wanted to grow my business. And so I tried to join my local chamber of commerce, and long story short, they wouldn't let me join because the director did what I did. And then a leads group came up a year later. They didn't let me join the leads group either. And I was like, okay, I'm a single dad. Where's my support? So a good Marine says you improvise, you overcome and adapt. And so I said, if I can't join, I'm just going to make something. And so I came back with Network Together, and it turned into where relationships create community and commerce follows. And then, as they say, the rest is history. And it started growing person by person and then community by community here in Phoenix.
And may I say, has it grown? You, I'm going to bring this up. You actually stumbled, or you worked and you adapt. You overcame. You improvised, and you came up with a magical solution to so much. Because I agree with you, especially when you're trying to build a business and it's a solopreneur or
Right.
smaller business, and then to top it off, if you're a single parent, if you're new to a community and all of that, how do you create that if that community is also going to affect the bottom line of your business? How do you go out there and make that happen if you're not allowed into the chamber or networking groups? And
yeah, it's courage, it's perseverance, it's vision, it's doing the things that other people don't want to do, but you do them anyway because it's the right thing for you and your family. I think most businesses come out of two real buckets. One bucket's it's necessary because no one else is doing it, or it's needed because like you need to provide for your family. And in my case, it tended to be both. I think of Chemo, and I think of Chemo Buddies. It's like, it's such a creative concept because, what makes it so great, like Network Together, is, we are here to include people, to create bonds with each other. I mean, not just relationships, but true bonds, that can inspire, that can help with our aspirations, and give us the faith and belief that, we truly aren't alone. There are people out there that do care, they do give, and they get past the, the craziness sometimes that we see in media and society. At the depth of it, I think all people have beautiful, wonderful hearts. And you know what you and I try to do is we want to bring the heart back into business. We want to bring, the spirit back into society. And at the end of the day, have a servant heart to lead others so they can do the same.
Very well said. In fact, I've thought about a lot of we've had an opportunity to talk a few times now since we've gotten to know each other. And I always go back to our conversations because they
Mhm.
always seem to really hit the nail on the head, exactly what you were saying of where it is that we feel called and what it is that we're trying to do, not just for ourselves, because truly what we are trying to do or what we are doing is not about us. It is about many others. And it's
Right.
interesting that we both were called that way. And I want to double back to, and I have some pictures of your crew, your family. I want to double back to that because you mentioned it, and that's what I was hoping you would do in telling the story of Network Together. You were a single dad for a while,
Yes.
and you were raised by this amazing woman. I met her the first day I met you. In fact,
Yeah,
I met
I
her
call her
first.
Dr. Mom. She's Dr.
Yeah,
Mom.
I know. Yeah, and she is. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. I met her first, and then she wanted to make
Oh,
sure I met you. Yeah, yeah, and one of those roundtable experiences.
I did not
Yeah,
know that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. And so going back to it, you take a lot of time with your children, and you believe in that kind of education beyond just, if you will, what you get in a school environment. You believe in working together and kind of that network together in the family too, right?
Absolutely. My wife, Sean Jones, and I mean, we make it a priority to do something, not just big things, but little somethings every day with our kids. So they know that they really are, a part of our, just a part of our world. And we even, from sitting down and doing homework, from my older daughter texting and calling on the phone and really getting that relationship, because she now lives in a different city. To our three younger kids, making sure that they're going to soccer practice, making sure that we sit down and we read great books, or even taking them to there was Eric Swanson has the Junior Habitude Warriors. Both of our sons have been to the Junior Habitude Warriors, and both of our sons have been going through the books, the Junior Habitude books, because we believe, that entrepreneurialism, civic duty, a great work ethic, being reverent, being conscious and self-aware go a long ways to, establishing, who they're going to be. And if we can help them earlier on, they don't have to wait till 40 to be that entrepreneur or to be that physician or to, even be a poet if they want to do it. They can start it at 14 or even younger. We want to just, really, it's like this, they're going to grow how they're going to grow. We just want to help shepherd them the best, the fastest, and most holistic way that they can.
And I love that. I love that so much. And I want to go into transition into the whole network together model, because I believe that, when I talk about this, and I say it in the beginning, 365 days of awesome, celebrate
Right.
success through service. And
Yes.
your network together process
Mm-hmm.
and program is so unique. And unless someone really truly understands, it is not, if you will, another cookie cutter networking group, correct? Why don't you talk about the networking aspect of the human, taking the person and
Yeah.
talking about the person, right?
Well, right. What I found is in certain ways I came from a background where, a lot of organizations they look at the transaction as the start of the relationship. We look at like the transaction is actually, comes after a funnel of building the relationships. And then
Right.
when you get to the transactions, it's not about the transactions anymore. It's just trading, transferring the currency of, mental wealth, of emotional wealth, of spiritual wealth to, to each other. and it's been very, very successful in how we approach it. You know, you know, our goal in Network Together is not how much business you can get. We don't pass around tip buckets. We don't ask them how many dollars we do. We actually ask, how many people have you served this week? And that is totally different than a lot of the other networking organizations, you know. And I've heard it somewhere. It says, you know, those who actually, you know, accumulate a self-worth are those who actually serve the most. You know, and then if we help them with digital media, certainly, and we help them with their personal and business development, you know, then, you know, yeah, sure, they can get the net worth, and then sure, they're able, you know, you have to, you know, to give back as well. But,
Right.
you know, we have actually 5 pillars in Network Together, and may I share those 5?
I would love for you to do that. Yes, please.
Well, the first pillar of Network Together is public speaking. And a lot of people are like, well, why public speaking? Because I believe that every person has a voice, and every person should be able to develop their own voice so they can speak to others on who they are and what they do, so they can create a sustainability for themselves and others, like their family. That's pillar 1.
Mm-hmm.
The second, yeah, the second pillar is personal and business development. I believe if a person works on themselves, naturally the experience process, the skill development process, the actual experience of that also lends itself into being a better parent, being a better business owner, being a better steward of the community. And that growth over time is transformational. And, you know, that's why we have so many learn shops and workshops, so we can practice on creating deeper level relationships. And David Fagan has helped me kind of rework the wording of that, and we call those referral friendships. And so, you know, how can you let down a friend, you know?
Yeah, exactly,
You know?
exactly. Yes, that's
You know,
number 2.
yeah, and that's number 2. Number 3 is business networking. You know, when it comes to business networking, we found by finding the voice, by working on themselves personally, we also want them to understand, like, your voice can only carry yourself so far. When I met Silo Moses, you know, he says, Robert, you have so much to give. You know, it doesn't do any good if you have all this knowledge and you keep it in a shoebox. You have to get it out. You know, and and if they don't know who you are, you might say just those few words that inspires them to do something differently from that day forward and each and every day afterwards. And I really, really thought about that, because I was always worried about, like, does it look like, oh, I'm just trying to create this something, or, will they really see me? And Silo says, if they feel your passion, they know that it's coming from the right place. He's like, you just need to get yourself heard. So that's why with the business networking part of it, we teach people how to actually articulate better in their meetings, and also how to utilize social media and also stage performance better, so they can actually articulate in such a way that they can get that community of believers and influencers and get themselves, to grow in that exposure and credibility and influence.
So that's number 3. Okay.
That's number 3. Okay, we're getting there, right?
Yeah,
And
we are. Okay.
Number four is where you and I resonate very well, and that is community outreach. We believe that an effective community of business owners should also be stewards of the community that gives back and helps others. If you believe the premise that people are built and they have a giving heart, what is going to make you grow more than actually reaching out, showing up, and giving back to others, and then seeing them grow as well, and then paying it forward for the next set of people that come into their lives. I mean, what a great way to actually have a positive, tremendous effect on the world. And
I love it.
you know,
Yeah.
and in Network Together, we put our time where our mouths are. Just in the last year, we've helped Healing Heroes. They train service dogs for vets who come back with PTSD. We've helped we've raised awareness and funds for the 100 Club of Arizona. They help first responders who have either been killed in the line of duty or have they have no way to fund their families, and so we've helped them. Heart Rock Ranch, Toys for Tots, Compassion Connect, Positive Friendships, American Cancer Society, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, Our Lady of the Church Guadalupe. You might even see Allison Larson and I, and Sean, my wife, and maybe and Donnie Guinois. We go there. We create food boxes.
Right. Yeah. Early in the morning.
That was us.
Yeah.
Yes. So you see that.
Yeah. I love it. When I'm there sometime early in the morning, I'm going to be there with you guys. Yes. Yes.
I cannot wait. And we have an event coming up, a 3-day event with Allison and David, October 25th, 26th, and 27th. It's going to be our iNetwork Expo / Spirit Summit. We're going to drop the mic. We're going to rock the house, and we're going to turn some heads. Woo!
Okay, I'm going to put that in my calendar. That sounds like fun. Okay.
And
so that's number 4.
And we have special hotel rates too. Okay. Number 4. Number 4.
Okay, so now we got number 5.
Yep, number 5. And I think it's the most critical piece of the fabric of our society now. And that's service to our youth.
Yes.
One of the things that I believe in is, we need to outreach in our communities to help kids also find their voice, to help them, to help train them in being confident, and getting them to start reading, better books, and getting them to personally develop, and also, helping them, gain confidence. I feel like there's so many mixed signals out there with our youth that, I see even in our own children sometimes that they're a little conflicted, and sometimes, here's a story, and this is how the fifth pillar of Network Together came into being. I like to do a lot of things with Troy and Aiden. So I noticed when I was taking the kids out there, and this is a couple of years ago, I'd take them to the field and we'd play soccer together. And normally I'm almost always the only dad out there, if I might be the only parent out there, period. And I saw something in that. Over time, I noticed that there was kids from all over the neighborhood that were coming into the park and playing with Troy, Aiden, and myself. And I started looking around, and they kept more, and I felt like, gosh, I'm like the Pied Piper of kids. And I talked to Sean about this, and Sean told me it's because those kids want someone to lead them. Yeah. They want someone that they can feel cares for them. And she said, every time you're out there and you're with those kids and you're kicking around the soccer ball, or you're laughing, or you're playing, or whatever you're doing, you're inspiring those kids, because a lot of those kids don't have that same inspiration in their own families, but you're doing that. And I thought about that for a while, and I said, you know what, Sean? I said, honey, our fifth pillar of Network Together needs to be that. It needs to be serving our youth so they can be the productive citizens that will, start driving the economic engine of our country. I know it sounds crazy big, but it's what I believe.
I love it. I want to do this. I want to show, because you mentioned it, and I want to show that you guys do these really fun events, right? You do all this fun stuff. And when part of why I'm so excited to highlight you as a service hero, and yes, I mean, I didn't bring your wife in on it because I'm going to do her another time. She's got her own thing going on. But you guys run this together, correct?
Yes.
And then you have different locations that all have meetings going on, and then you bring everybody together.
Yes.
And do these big, huge events that end up being fun and crazy, and I've only heard
Loud.
about them. Yeah, I haven't been to one yet, though I want to, because I've heard about them, and I hear that, it's like once you've been there, you just don't want to miss any of them. And so that's one of the reasons. I'm sure you're growing at such a pace. But why don't you kind of tell us about that? Because I think it's so unique.
Well, they're called our net mobs, and what it started about is there was I heard of these things called flash mobs, and I thought, well, how cool, a flash mob, could we utilize or play on that flash mob? And so, I'm thinking like, well, how about, then there's this other word named mashup. And so I was thinking like, well, why don't we just take networking and we take flash mob, and then we just bombard a location and just have a celebration or a party for people who just enjoy the camaraderie of networking. And, and like anything, there's unintended, just like there's unintended consequences, right? You've heard that before. Right. I feel like sometimes there's unintended benefits, like, wow, this happened, but something great happened from it. And I love these pictures that you're showing. And what happened is our own networking community, it was just like, well, why don't we just get together and just kind of have an event that celebrates each other, right? And then all of a sudden, other networkers and business owners and communities said, gosh, we like that. Can we come too? And we're like, well, why not? And then all of a sudden now we're looking at 2 years later, what started as, 30 and 40 people are turning into 300 and 400 people, all getting together, all showcasing, as exhibitors. We have speakers, we have fun little workshops, we celebrate with food, and sometimes we even have a little dousing of entertainment. But it all goes back to the roots of, one of our basic premises is, if you're going to have to work, let's have some fun too.
Why not, right?
Right.
I love it. And that's why I just wanted people to see this personality of yours come out, because there's just, even, okay, I'm going to bring this up, even your profile picture.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, bring it on now.
It's so funny you say that, because it's like, it goes like this, Tamara. And Sean will tell me, my wife, she'll go like, people will go up to her and they'll ask her, it's like, so, hey, is Robert like that all the time? Is he really like that at home? And Sean will go, yeah, absolutely. We have to fight for the mic when we're getting ready in the morning.
Right, because, okay, I'm going to show these. Your beautiful wife, and you, it's not a first marriage. But your beautiful wife is also a speaker, and
yes,
and she is a part of, getting this whole movement going. And yes, the two of you together are just a powerhouse. The two of you, it's just so much fun to see you together, because, it's refreshing when you can see people that truly enjoy each other's company. And I'll never forget, because the first day I met you was, I also met your wife, and it ended up that we spoke, I think maybe the very first was over in the Starbucks line, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're talking, and I remember she had this little curl coming down or something, and it was just so cute, because you were adorable. I'm mentioning her hair, and then we're talking, I'm asking questions, and then you mentioned, because I'm asking questions, you mentioned that, and then you were just so cute about her little curl.
I love that. I want that curl back.
I thought, okay. Note to self, one of the most adorable couples I've seen maybe ever or in a long time.
And it's really crazy, but, we met networking. Believe it or not. There was a meeting and the showcase chair at our chapter invited her to speak at the meeting. And of all places, she did it at the center of the table. I was right underneath her nose. And I remember I was just mesmerized. I was like, oh my goodness, like movie stuff. In my mind, I'm thinking like, I'm going to marry that girl. I'm going to marry that girl. And I still remember I talked to a friend, and I was so excited, and he's like, okay, I'll give her a call and I'll let her know and see if she's available and whatnot, because they were friends. And I remember getting it back to me, and she didn't have any idea who I was. She had no idea. She's like,
No.
was he that little short guy? It was like, that's what she remembered me as. And but he said something. He said, you know what? Let me tell you something about Robert. If you were my sister, okay, if you were my sister, I would tell you to go out with him. And
Yeah.
and so she said, okay, I'll give it a try. And I still remember the first dance we ever had. We actually kind of had one of those dates where it's like, okay, the uncomfortable date. So we're going to bring our kids and we're going to involve it. We're going to make it a family date. And I still remember going out on the dance floor, and it was like there was like a level that looked over us. And I still remember, and I caught a little glance from my eye, and I saw one of the kids, and they did this.
Oh, it was
And
like, okay, we're in.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And you know it, and there it was. And then what's really crazy is my wife is Irish, and so I didn't know this, but she contacted my family. She asked for permission to ask for my hand in marriage, and she actually proposed to me on that leap day. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
I totally get that with her. I totally believe that.
Crazy.
I wouldn't about most people, but your wife is just so spectacular. And the two of you have so much talent in your little fingers, both of you. And so together, it's such a powerhouse. You're affecting so many lives in so many ways with your network together. There's a couple, I'm not going to go into all the stories, but there's a couple of them that I recall that when you talk about the specific people and how it has affected them to overcome possibly a shyness or possibly
Right.
a certain skill that they didn't have that they needed to be able to be successful in their business, for their family, for their livelihood. And then they were starting to see that they were affecting other people in a positive way. And it's this whole domino effect, because when
Right.
you can have that happening in a community, I mean, this is what this whole Service Hero program is about. And why I started it was to be able to share with my chemo buddies for life that there is good news and that there are good people out there, and there is a reason to just fight and survive and get out there and be able to then, when you're in your new normal healthy self, to be able to go out and help others. And when I see your organization helping your community, your backyard, and now we'll talk about where you're expanding, and so people are going to be able to start experiencing this kind of success, and not just success in dollars and cents, and not just success, if you will, in the bottom line of a business, in success in a community and in yourself. And that is just in every which way service, and through a servant's heart. Like you said, you were born with it. And I truly know that. I don't just believe it, I know it. You were. And I see it all the time. Even, I mean, I contact you at all, and it's always, what can I do for you? What do you need, Tamara? And I may not need anything, but that's always where you go first.
I know. And now I have another thing for you. We have the iNetworkMagazine.com, and in one of the column areas is going to be for the community outreach construct. And so we have to have you in there in Chemo Buddy so the world can know.
I love it. I would love it. Yes, thank you. And there's many other good things to come. Wink, wink. When it comes to that kind of stuff that we'll be sharing here soon.
Yay!
Yes. And I'm so excited.
And one of the things, and just not to get too serious, but a little bit of seriousness. I want I want men to know,
Yes.
especially men that have cancer. Sometimes I think sometimes we think it's more for women than men.
Mm.
But men get cancer too.
Oh, yes.
And and I didn't say this, but I'm gonna say it now. I had cancer,
Really? I did not know
and
that.
I was one of those men. And
Huh.
I and I buried it so much that I actually physically forgot that I had it.
Really?
So when I was 41 years old, and what was happening is actually Sean and I were sitting down and we were watching, we get Netflix, so we spend some time together and we get our favorite programs.
Right.
And we were sitting there and we were talking about chemo buddies, and we brought you up and we were talking. I said, I'm so excited about, what Tamara's doing. And she talked about, hey, let's talk, let's get on the show and whatnot. And, and I didn't even think about it, Tamara, but I said, gosh, when I had cancer, I had no one. And she stopped me and she said, wait, what did you just say?
She didn't
And
even know. Oh, I'm
she
getting
didn't
chills.
know. No, you're right. She did not know. And she said, did you just say you had cancer? And I said, no, no. And then I was, yes, I had cancer. And she's like, I've known you for 4 years. I did not know that you've ever had cancer. And I looked at her, I said, you know what? I was ashamed, to I don't know. I buried it so deeply, even I forgot I had cancer. And I did. I went through about 6 months of treatment, and it went into remission. And it was a cancer that men get that women don't. And
Mm-hmm.
I was so embarrassed of that no one in my family knew, and only my oncologist and my physician. And
Where did you go? He'll be coming back. I see him coming back. We're bringing him back, everyone. Okay,
oh,
you're
my
back.
connection lost there for a second.
No problem. Okay. Probably because of all this energy that's going on right now and sharing this. So,
I
so
think I
you,
lost it. Are you there?
I am. I am here. We see you. We can see you, Robert. We can see you.
We have over 999 viewers. I don't know what that means.
You're here. We see you. I don't know how to tell him, guys. As he's trying to figure out
We
that we can.
lost our connection right when
No,
I
we
was
can.
talking about this. I feel
Yeah, we
bad.
can see you. We can see you.
I don't know. Do you see me over there?
Yeah.
My phone's stuck. Well,
Oh, that's
I don't
probably.
know if anyone's out there, but
Yeah, we can.
I think sometimes it's such a personal thing. And I was in the Marines, and it's exciting, the outward appearance, the stage appearance, and everything else. There's still that part of me that just doesn't want to admit that there was those type of weaknesses, and I buried it so deep, so deep that I forgot that I had it. And my wife caught that, and it made me think about how important chemo buddies is, and really not just for women, because I know it's predominantly women to women, but men need buddies too. And
Yes.
looking back at that time of my life, if I would have known about this concept, maybe I would have been one of those men to reach out and find a buddy for me. So
Right.
um, that's my story. I'm not sure if I'm online, but I am so grateful to be on your show, Tamara. And there's some like storms and some wind, and it's actually raining in Phoenix of all things, but we actually are loving it here. So thank you so much for having me on your show today. Again, my name is Robert Jones, and I'm with Network Together. We're at networktogether.net. We're a community organization where relationships are built that lead to business. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tamara, for having me on the show today.
I am going to finish this off right now, because what I want to talk about right this minute is exactly what Robert just shared. Hopefully I can bring him back up. He just came back. So,
Hi.
oh, you can hear me. Oh, good, good, good. Okay, yes, we heard you. We did hear you. And I want you to know something is, and that is, first of all, thank you for sharing. You know, it, you really were brave to do that. And again, this is who I know you to be. And this is why I wanted to bring you on, is this does not surprise me. It surprises me that you had forgotten, but in a way it doesn't, because, and I want to go into that a little deeper, and this is going somewhere I didn't expect it to go, but I'm so grateful to be going there with you, Robert, because um, the reason, one of the main reasons that Chemo Buddies for Life, my nonprofit, did come about is because of our doctor, my original chemo buddy, Martha Newsom, and we went through chemotherapy and surgeries and post medicine and therapies, and we traveled that road for 3 years. And during that time, yes, she's funny and we had this amazing energy and everything, but we did it together. And our doctors and our nurses were very, very clear in the fact that there are so many people that are isolating themselves, and that they don't share it with even family. They don't share it with people at work. They don't want anybody to know, and in some ways they don't even share it with themselves. And
Right.
they don't adjust for what they're going through, and it really does many times have an effect on their health. So when we started learning about this, that was something I started checking into. And when I started seeing how many people were actually isolating themselves, and then the studies that have been actually in journals now saying if you do that, that's not healthy. And it's much better to be able to get that information, at least be able to do it with someone. And so that's why the concept of Chemo Buddies for Life came about. And once our website is completely at some point built out, the concept will be that it will be a safe place for someone that doesn't want to, if you will, tell their family, doesn't want anybody at work to know, and doesn't want to broadcast it out, that they can still go and have a buddy. They can do it with an alias. They don't have to ever even meet that buddy face to face, but they can get to know someone and know that they're not alone. And in doing that, that can help, because if you do not feel isolated and you feel socialized and you feel as though you've got that person.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be someone that you can touch. It's just like right now, we're having a conversation face to face, but we're in two different states.
Yes.
Right?
And it's very important. I mean, when I was trained in that generation of you know theatrically speaking, I have a certain style. Of course I do. It's just how I am. But those are those points I've been trained to bury deep. And during that time frame, I was married to someone else, and that wasn't going well. My son Troy was born, so I buried it because he was born in a tent. My wife had an infection, so they stayed the first 2 weeks in the hospital, and it cost a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of sacrifice. And I also came from California. I was living in San Diego. I moved to Arizona. I had some houses, and 2006 to 2007 was not a good year for housing. So I was losing my houses. I was losing my business because I couldn't get in the Chamber of Commerce. I was losing my marriage. I almost lost my son. And in a way, then I have cancer on top of it. I mean, I was just like, why me? It was the question, and I didn't want to bother anyone else with it. So, because it was like, I kind of felt like that's the last thing I wanted to do to my family, was to even burden them more. And I think about that. How many people are really, they're like me too. There's so many things, and they bury it deep because they're serving others, and they're either embarrassed, or they have pride, or for whatever reason, they just bottle it up, they bury it deep, and you know and they carry it. And I think that what would have my life been like if for the last 12 years I didn't bury it, I moved on from it, like a bird coming out of a nest. Maybe that freedom would have been even greater for me. But not to go backwards and to only go forwards. I think there was a reason you came into my life. There was a reason I was sitting on that couch and my wife calling me out. It's because your organization needs to be heard as well. So someone like me doesn't have to go through that decade long of bearing that feeling of like, I can't tell anyone.
That's true.
So,
wow. Yes. I have one of our chemo buddies for life, one of our ambassadors. She is wow, amazing story, and here's another one of our chemo buddies for life, and she's sharing the love with you, and we do have men in our chemo buddies, and she's you are so right, and the thing about it that's so beautiful is that you are not alone, and now and getting this off of your chest, because amazing thing with life is that these memories have a footprint in us, and when we allow ourselves to finally I went to an acupuncturist, and I know this may seem like an odd story, but I went to an acupuncturist and I started getting sick. And I'm like, wow, this was really crazy. Mm-hmm. And it was like colds and stuff. And she's like, right. You must stop these midstream, because if you don't let it take its course, let that cold take its course, it is still stuck inside of you and it needs to come out at some point. And I keep going back to that story when it comes to life experiences, that when we cut ourselves off from those life experiences and processing them in a healthy way, then they may be stuck inside of us somewhere, and we need to let them out. And I'm so grateful that you shared that with us today, and that I do know you, because it's crazy, Robert. I have thought so many times of our visits, and they're always huge breakthroughs for me. And man, you don't disappoint. we just got it. We just filmed it.
But, so and like I said, that's just the power of people. The power of showing up. And I'm getting goosebumps just talking about that right now, because it's like, I mean, there is so much wonderful things in life. And, if I didn't go to that Spirit Summit, if you didn't go to that Spirit Summit, if, being able to talk about this, I mean, I'm sitting here, and you may not be able to see it, anyone out there who's watching this, but like, I'm taking very, very deep breaths, because I can feel, just the power of it letting go of me right now. And, wow. And that's, our conversation, you've given me service, and I'm very grateful for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all you do. And I'm grateful for this moment that we had. And I want to show this to you, because I think she said it so well in one word. Yes. Yes. Freedom. Freedom of, when we let go of things and we cleanse it and then we let it out, and it's amazing how that feels. And I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful for you sharing like you did, because you right now, I believe, and in sharing this, and I hope that many of you that are watching this, and I'm going to put it over on the Chemo Buddies page, and I'm going to share this and share this, because, and I want all of you, that if you know someone that or you suspect someone needs to hear this, I have a feeling that it's going to help so many people, and that your awakening, if you will, to something, because sometimes we do hide those traumatic experiences in our lives, and then somehow it comes out, and then it can be surprising to us. And in witnessing this and sharing with you, Robert, I have a feeling that there will be many others that it might not be cancer, it might be something else, but it will help them to say, you know what, I have something, and then to work it through and find a trusted friend. Check us out at Chemo Buddies for Life. We're here for you, and it doesn't have to be cancer, because we've got a wonderful buddy system, and we've got really caring people, and we're there for whoever needs us. And so I want to thank you again, and I know that this is going to be something that I will be processing through the rest of the day too, because it's a lot. And I want to also let everyone know that the program that we have, Chemo Buddies for Life, for it's for all cancers, it's for all genders, we are here in the United States, and we actually have people throughout the world, not a lot, but at some point in time, we want to be completely global, because cancer doesn't have any boundaries. None. Not one. Not one. And nor do we. We don't believe in them. And so with that said, I just can't even tell you how much I appreciate you as an individual. I appreciate you as a businessman. I appreciate you as a father, as a friend, and as a service hero. Thank you for everything you do, Robert W. Jones.
and thank you so much for my heart and being on. I guess this is a show. I think it's more than a show.
I think it's become a show. Yeah, it's pretty much.
It's like your awakening series, I think. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful time. I know you're getting ready for Spirit Summit, and I know you're just gonna knock them alive.
Yes, we're excited about that. In fact, it's very exciting to think that just at the beginning of this year was my first summit that I ever went to, and then to be given this gift of time by David Fagan and Allison Larson to be able to recognize the Service Hero program and the service heroes that are coming, and be able to do that in such a way that I'm so thrilled. In fact, I hope that you are able to come and join us. It's going to be September the 21st and 22nd, right next to LAX, so in Los Angeles. And I will include a link for anybody that wants to come, because I believe there's still a few spots. Be my guest, put guest and put my name, Tamara Hunter, and you'll be able to come for free. And what is pretty spectacular about Spirit Summits is that they're different than any of the other summits that are out there, because it's all about service.
Yes.
And nonprofits and for-profits with a cause, and that are doing good in the community and for individuals too. It's pretty spectacular meeting place and events. And so thank you. I am going to close today, though I don't want to but and I want to do it in a reverent way, because after you shared with us, I just feel that it took a whole different feeling, um, and a beautiful light and energy has come and is visiting with us, and I want to thank you for that, Robert. I want to thank you for your heart, and I want to thank you for trusting me and everyone here to come out and share this
Yeah.
awakening, because I know others will be able to gain from you doing that unselfish act and being so vulnerable. And I want to encourage others that as you're watching this and replay it, and then play it for someone that may need to see it, because I really do believe that there's going to be a lot of healing that will take place. So I want to thank you as we close out today, which you said you like the number 101. So
Yes, I
uh,
do.
Service Hero number 101, day number 101 of 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. Robert W. Jones, you are a spectacular man that serves so many. You have a servant's heart. And I'm privileged to call you my friend.
Thanks, Tamara.
You're
I
welcome.
feel likewise.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, as we end, I'm going to say goodbye. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I hope to see you this weekend. Bye.